during that time period, people have used stars to help navigate and form different types of cultures, and as the years went by, people have studied and observed the different stars and planets. Eventually, at the height of the Cold War, the US and Russia would achieve many different space related achievements, such as putting the first artificial satellite into orbit, the first man into space, and the first man on the moon. NASA, after landing a man on the moon, had ambitious plans to eventually send people to Mars, but the US officials was like, hippity hoppity, your money is now my property. After a young and balding Elon Musk found out that NASA still doesn't send people to Mars, he was big mad, so he decided to create SpaceX to achieve his goal of seeing people on the red planet, and then the rest was history. Unless you don't know the history of SpaceX, in which case the following segment is for you, fellow viewer. What does this button do? Nice. Can I have it? Sure. Nice. I am going to Russia. Can I have it? For 8 million. 4 million. 8 million. 4 million. 8 million. Fine. Bro, what's going on with your rocket behind you? Bro, what you mean? Bro, behind you. No, wait. But I'm gonna make my own rocket to Mars, and I'm gonna send mice. Mice. You know what? Never mind. The Falcon 1 is gonna reach orbit. Second time's the charm? Motherfucker. Bro, we don't have money. Yes, we do. No, we don't. No, we don't. 3, 2, 1, liftoff. I am a head out. We have no money, so this could be our last launch. 3, 2, 1, liftoff. You want a contract? Sure. Wait, where were we? Oh, yeah. Starship will be revolutionary, as the title states. I'm not saying that because of the recent hype of Starship throughout the last year. I'm saying it because of the recent hype around Starship this last year. And because it's true. Starship is going to pave the road for a new era of innovation and will benefit the human race as a whole. But to understand how Starship will achieve such feats, we have to look back at the history of Starship. The idea of creating a huge rocket was first announced by Elon at a public speaking in 2012, where Starship, as we now know it today, was dubbed as the Mars Colonial Transporter, or MCT for short. But Elon was like, psych, we're going everywhere, so the MCT was changed to the Interplanetary Transport System, or ITS for short. And this is where we start to get a look at the rocket. As you can see, it has a slick white and black colored rocket with a rather thick first stage and a stubby upper stage. And the ITS had beautiful looking landing legs. SpaceX decided to change the ITS to BFR, which stands for Big Falcon Rocket, because you know it's Falcon Big. If you off at the Dear Moon event, which was an event that revealed the Japanese billionaire, hopefully I don't butcher this wrong, sorry if I do, Yuzaka Mazawa, and other artists to go around the moon to draw. I don't know what they'll do. But Elon announced that the BFR was changed to Starship and had a major design change that includes the change of the body of Starship. More on that later. Yeah, I didn't speak on it later. I kind of forgot, but basically what I was just gonna say is that SpaceX made the transition from carbon fiber to stainless steel due to prices. Apparently, carbon composites costed more than stainless steel. So yeah, and it was easier to work with. But when it came to like the cryogenic fuel tanks and stuff like that. Like I said before, Starship will pave the road for new innovations and advancements in the human race. For example, let's discuss the innovations just for Starship alone. The reasoning behind SpaceX using methane for Starship is so that they could refuel on Mars by using the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere and hydrogen found in a water ice to create methane and refuel it, which is a technology has never been tested before. Editing duck here. Turns out I made a mistake. Turns out NASA's new Mars rover named Perseverance is going to Mars with a new experiment called MOXIE, which stands for a Mars Oxygen In Situ Resource Utilization Experiment, which is basically what I just said Starship was going to do with refueling using methane. So yeah, but instead it's going to be used to create oxygen. It's a similar process, but it will be tested first using the Perseverance rover, which is cool to see. SpaceX has been testing the Raptor engine by creating Starhopper, which is a prototype that will perform flights with the Raptor engine and other prototypes. Alright, so it did change. Editing duck here, and SN5 completed a 150-meter hop with a singular Raptor engine on August 4th, 2020, which was last week, and I'm sorry that this video took so long, but it's just the way it is. But it shows SpaceX's rapid pace of innovation and further proves my point that I'm trying to convey in this video. Starship will also try to achieve 100% reusability and allow hundreds of reuses of Starship and Super Heavy without refurbishment, and thousands of reuses before being expended like airliners. They were originally going to achieve this by quote-unquote bleeding steel, which involved having tiny pores that allowed liquid methane to flow through it and cool down Starship while it's re-entering the atmosphere. Supposedly it would have increased the strength of stainless steel by as much as 70%. They scrapped this idea and decided to go for an element known as pKa, which would gradually degrade over time and is very effective at dealing with high temperatures. Even though the cooling idea on the heat shield didn't see the light of day, it does show SpaceX's ability to expand on already efficient technologies and create different uses out of it. SpaceX is also aiming to provide really cheap launches for only $2 million per flight. If you're new to space flight, on average, a flight to low Earth orbit is $100 to $200 million. That's as high as the GDP of Kiribati? Yeah. Who?
Nah, Jeff who?
Starship will also have the highest payload capability of any rocket to have ever existed, toppling the Saturn V's payload capability. They are also creating in-orbit refueling, which sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie. While yes, granted, it will take a couple of refuels before a Starship will be able to go out like onto interplanetary missions or even further. Like I said before, this is only from Starship Super Heavy alone, which is insane to think that this level of base innovation directly stems from a dream that Elon had. That isn't all there is more. But indirect innovations will also stem from Starship, and we will discuss this in the next segment. Competition has been around for as long as humans have existed. It has always stemmed from the idea of being better than an opposing force while both simultaneously working towards the same goal. Competition was first presented to space during the space race between the US and Soviets during the height of the Cold War, which helped advance humans to new heights. Hint, hint, foreshadowing. If you've heard the news recently, there's a new space race on the horizon, but this time it isn't between the US and the Soviets. It's between private companies looking to commercialize space, such as, for example, Spacex, Blue Origin, ULA, etc. This friendly competition will drive companies to advance past their competitors, just like the original space race. One company that could challenge Starship is Blue Origin, but not in its current state. Currently, Blue Origin is a small suborbital vehicle that is nearly 6 times smaller than Starship, but Blue Origin is developing a rocket, New Glenn, which is named after John Glenn, who was the first American to orbit the Earth. New Glenn will be almost as big as the Saturn V, and it's going to have reusable elements with the first stage landing like the Falcon 9. As these companies go up against each other and advance along the way, the the cost of spaceflight will drastically decrease, which would allow more people to space, which leads to the creation of a spacefaring civilization and eventually an interplanetary civilization. Speaking of interplanetary, Starship plans to be an interplanetary vehicle. History has shown that wherever people go, others follow. This could potentially be true for interplanetary travel. Whether it be people, businesses, or competition between businesses, they will follow where Starship goes. Since this video is coming to end, well, Starship will be revolutionary, and I have said it multiple times, and I truly do believe so. Even though there are a lot of people that agree with me, there are also a lot that will disagree with me, and to those people I say, look back on the past. How much times has SpaceX made ambitious claims and delivered upon them? Many times, right? Yeah. SpaceX keeps proving speculators wrong, and I believe that they will do the same with Starship, though they will have to do extensive training of Starship in order to completely certify it for any human-rated stuff or for it to be 100% effective. But I feel like they will do it. But I want to know what you guys think, so leave a comment if you agree or disagree. All feedback is welcome and encouraged. So, I don't have a good way to end this video, so sorry if it feels lackluster. I'm sorry, but I would appreciate it if you left a like and subscribed if you haven't. And if you want more, just comment down. And yeah, that's all I have to say. Peace.